All right, guys, and welcome to another week of the Educators Roundtable. My name is Karen Gray. I'm the founder of MK Results LLC, where we focus on promoting cultural diversity, equity, most of all. We want to ensure that we share our experiences tonight, and we are so happy that you're with us. I'm going to pass it off to Miss Andrea.
Hey guys, it's Andrea broadcasting live here from Birmingham, Alabama. I am so glad to be on, and I'm so glad to see all of your faces here as well. I'm going to pitch it over to Danielle.
Hey friends, I'm so excited to be with you going up on a Tuesday. Hey guys, I'm passing it to Toya.
Hi guys, how's it going? It's me, the amazing Toya, down on a Tuesday, and I'm glad to be joining you guys here again for another week. I'm so excited to get this started. Over to Dr. Jones.
Hello, Dr. Jones, author of Used to Hate School, 5 Principles for Success in Education. Get your copy of my book today. It's going down, just making sure you understand that the road and equity does go in line with everything we want to do to eradicate the school to prison pipeline. I'm excited to be with you all this evening.
Absolutely. And we just want to ensure we're creating this safe space for everybody. So I'm going to throw that over to Danielle.
So at this time, we want to set the tone. Sometimes we talk about really hard topics and subject matters, but we want to come from a place of love and come from as much positivity as we can. You know, we talk about some hard topics, but this is a safe space for us to do that. This is a equitable place for us to do that. So thank you.
Absolutely. So, in that being said, guys, we're going to talk about the first topic, which is how to raise a kind kid. Talking about some parenting issues, but this isn't just parenting issues because we interact with students in education as well. And so we see different things, right? And many of us are parents ourselves. So, and students are just like our children, right? We go to school every day and we hope that when we send our kids to school, that someone loves on them and builds them up. So we're talking tonight about how to raise kind kids. Who wants to start? Hey, friends.
Are you starting, Danielle?
Yeah, okay. I was just going to say that it's really important to talk to your kids about making friends with people who don't look like them. Encourage them to keep people around them who don't look like them. Talk to your kids about going, at school or, going out and making friends with people who don't look like them, making sure to help foster that communication. If they don't know what to say, just say hi, say hi, say, I like your shirt. So always make connections and friendships with people who don't look like you. So, go ahead.
I think that's that's a very good point, Danielle. I would like to piggyback off that by saying, I just feel like everyone comes from different perspectives, different backgrounds, different experiences. And so it's kind of hard to teach something that's universal and you get a universal result. But I think the most universal lesson that we can teach our children is the golden rule. And I'm pretty sure you guys are very familiar with the golden rule. Treat others the way you would want them to treat you. But what I say in my house is treat others the way you would want them to treat you and better. Because sometimes we don't have high expectations for ourselves or how people treat us. And so what I say is even if your expectations may not be high when it comes to this situation, or you may not expect this much out of this situation, let that at least be the starting point, but try to treat people even better than that. And with that being said, I think if you use yourself as I guess you can say, the measuring stick, I don't want anybody to talk to me that way. So you know what? I'm not going to talk to them that way. And I'm going to try to make sure that when I talk to them, the way that I speak to them, I'm going to make sure that it's even better than the way I would want them to speak to me. And the same with how we treat each other, interact, all of those things. So I think the golden rule is one of the best ways to raise a kind kid, using yourself as your measuring stick and your starting point. I'm going to pitch it over to Toya because it's like she has a really deep thought brewing.
I didn't, but now you put me on the spot. I was like, well, they're talking about, I don't know. Hold up. No, I just think about how I raised my kid. I think she's a pretty kind kid, and she's soft. She's so soft to the fact that sometimes she gets kind of bullied at school and everything like that because she wants to be everybody's friend, which is understandable. But I didn't like how my parents, especially in the Black community, raised us to be seen and not heard. So I wanted to make that different in my household. And she's a person too. Her feelings aren't discounted just because, hey, why are you my mouth? Why are you my face? A lot of, African American parents do that. And then, that's just not my forte. And I always said when I had kids, I wasn't going to raise my kid that way. I like my kid letting them be heard. I like her to give me I statements. I felt this way or whatever, like the other day, example, she was drinking from my cup. So I was mad because it was the last of the apple juice, mind you. And so I looked right at her. She had the straw because she slipped a straw in, and I went bop upside her forehead. I said, "Why'd you do that?" And she's like, "Why'd you hit me?" I go, "Well, you were drinking from my cup without even asking, like, hello." And she was like, "Mom." So I could tell her feelings were hurt because then she kept on harping on it. You just had to hit me upside my head. You just had to. Why did you do that? Like, I don't like that. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You're right. You didn't like it. You didn't like that I did that. Understandable. I'm glad you told me. How about I not hit you upside the head again? And she goes, "Thank you. That's all I want." She goes, "You could have just said, 'Don't drink from my drink,' and I wouldn't have done it." And I was like, all right. She spoke up. She said what she had to say. It wasn't rude. It wasn't disrespectful. And that's how it is, because I want her to be able to go talk to somebody else and tell them how she feels about something too, so that we can just keep the repertoire. Things didn't have to be like that. And so I apologize for hitting upside the head, but I said, don't drink out my drink no more. But that's it.
Yeah, it's so important to have those conversations or create a safe space at home with your children in order to you're not to get offended when you have those conversations, and they can say, "Hey mom, that offended me." And sometimes it's a reflection. We as parents have to be reflective and say, "Hey, is there a better way that I could have done that?" And that's okay to say, because guess what? This is many of our first time we're experiencing things. My son is 14 years old. I've had to figure out things and say, "Oh, you know what? Next time I can do that a little better," But it's all about having that conversation, being reflective on yourself. And that's part of what we want people to do, is that sometimes adults' unconscious biases seep into your kids, and then they bring that with them to school. And so sometimes that, because they've not been exposed, you haven't talked about diversity, or you haven't talked about it in a way, they've been exposed to your biases about certain things, the undertones that maybe you've gone to a grocery store and you've seen somebody and you've made a comment. Kids pick up on that, and you've said something. They may not say it to you, but they see how you react when people come around, when certain people come around. They see, when they get to school, they may not want to play with certain kids because, number one, they don't know what they don't know. They've never been around it. And then number two, they may have some of the things that they've picked up from home that are repeating in their head, that's going against what maybe the teacher's saying about a golden rule, treat everybody the same, when at home they may have had a different experience. So it's hard when we're preaching things at school, but sometimes what they're learning at home is counterproductive to being kind or showing other kids how to be kind. So we really have to start that conversation at home. And we also need to have that conversation in school. Danielle, you gave a really good example about especially having kids know the difference between, I think we're great at code switching, but I don't think that a lot of students know, or they don't have that conversations about what's appropriate at school, what's appropriate at home, what's appropriate in the community. And so in order to raise kind kids, you have to start with conversations and build that safe space where they feel okay to say, "Why is that injustice happening? I need to talk about it." I don't want to build it up. Why didn't that kid get a snack? Or why did that kid get this? These are subtle things that they continuously may not say, but it becomes a weight that they carry.
I like what Toya said, Harrison, if you don't mind me jumping in front of you, because I feel like you have a really deep thought brewing as well. I kind of like what Toya said, because what we saw from her example also is that she's modeling what that reflection looks like. She's modeling what that conversation looks like. I love the fact that she said she apologized to her daughter. And I think that if we model those types of behaviors in our home, our kids, I was supposed to say our students, I'm in teacher mode, our kids who are students would have an easier time doing that when they're out in public. They're going to reflect on how mom interacted with them when they spoke up and said, hey, I really didn't appreciate that you said that, mom. And mom was willing to, number one, acknowledge the feelings, like, okay, you know what, I can see that. And then to turn around and apologize. They're going to get out in public, and I hope they would do the exact same thing. Like, you know what, you just voiced to me that you didn't really appreciate that, or I learned at home that I can voice to you that I didn't appreciate something. And unfortunately, I'm probably going to expect for you to do what mom did, which is to go, oh, yeah, I can understand that, and then apologize. But we also have to prepare our kids for the fact that everybody may not respond the way we do at home. And if they do, that's okay. Here's what you do when people don't respond the way you want them to. You have to think in the back of your mind that, you know what, maybe they didn't get the same lesson that I got. And that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to be that change. I'm going to try to be that difference. I'm going to try to be that lesson for them, because maybe they didn't get it. I'll end by saying this, and I got to pitch it over to Harrison because I feel like he got something juicy to say. Ashton in his therapy tonight watched a video about bullying. And basically, the story ended by the little boy who was being bullied finding out that the reason why his bully was a bully was because he was being bullied by his older brother. And so Ashton was like, oh, so we thought that Ashton's big takeaway was going to be that maybe I've been bullied in the past, and maybe people bully because they were bullied themselves. And so I should be empathetic and compassionate and understanding when someone is bullying. Maybe I should think that, you know, they've been bullied, or, you know, they're basically exerting that on me because that's what they're going through. Well, Ashton's takeaway was that, okay, great. So the next time I see my bully, I'm going to slap him in the face. I'm going to punch him down, because that means that I'm like, whoa, hold up. I had to redirect the narrative. Like, wait a minute. No, that was not the lesson that you were supposed to get from that. And we had to show him, and he goes, well, can I watch the video again? The therapist let him watch it again. And he was like, okay, now I understand. So I'm going to end by saying this. They won't get it the first time. You know, our conversations won't always have that aha, and they turn into these perfect kind kids. We have to be patient with them, have those conversations to redirect and to reiterate. Yeah, then yeah, yes. Yep, consistency over and over and over again until it becomes a part of their character. So I'm done. Bubbling my mouth.
I think that was very juicy in itself. If anything, getting more juicy than that answer, I don't think there is. Everybody has some fine examples of raising a kind kid. I think one of the main things, though, from what I've seen, from what y'all gathered together, is just to, you know, what I learned from my parents was to find value in every single relationship that you have. Like, even if they might not seem like productive or might not seem like the best relationship or your best friend, but to be able to find value in every single person that you kind of give contact. And the way you find value in them is you give them something, or you give them a polite compliment, or you give them encouragement. And that's one thing I learned my entire life from my parents, that everybody they talked to was encouraging. They were always, you know, giving a compliment to each other. And it was absolutely necessary to compliment everyone you came in contact with. And so it's almost become natural in my lifetime that whenever I see somebody say, "Oh, I like your hair," or "Oh, you're very smart," or you'll say something nice to people and you get it back. So the more you give kindness, the more you receive. And so a lot of that was just finding the value in the relationships and just being an example, you know, to whoever it is that's watching, that whoever you come in contact with. Like Toya was talking to me earlier about, you know, when I was in track meet back in the day and I was being mean to her. I don't remember, but who knows? Maybe I was, maybe I was. But I would say that that is a relationship that, you know, could have been tarnished back then, or developed right now, and where it is paid off right now. And this is when I was a child. And so being able to be positive and kind to people definitely pays off in every situation. So kudos
I
to all
forgive
you
you.
all.
I forgive you, my bully. I forgive you.
Well, you know,
That's crazy that we have this such a history like this. It was just funny.
yeah,
It just brought to my attention. You know, you never know who you're gonna run back into
yeah.
again. That was like, goodness gracious, like what? It's been like what? It's been 20 years since we graduated.
It's been a while.
Crazy that I met you 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade of track in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
And I was like, I remember it was like a flashback of emotions run over me whenever I saw you. Whenever Karen was like, "Hey, I know this guy here," I went,
What's your last name?
because I remember it was Cauley, Cauley. But I was just like, and I was like, I know that guy. I'm about to flip through the book. I'm like, dude, I don't know. It's just funny. But you do remember those things. You remember those, like you said, you remember harsh words. So over and over again, being repetitive and being kind and speaking kindness and life into people, then they exuberate that. You know what I'm saying? I could have been like, let it just get me down, but you know what? I'm a tough cookie because my mom always said to me, girl, be a leader, not a follower. She was like, those are just haters. That's just jealousy. And my mom said all this stuff way before the word haters and all that stuff came about. And I was like, no, Mom, you don't understand. I need to get a forehead lift. I need to get this. You know, I was trying to change myself. And she was like, no. She goes, don't you worry about that. That's their issue, not your issue. Just be you. You're a leader, not a follower. And that's what I teach my daughter. Do not, if you see those little girls doing all this or that, you continue to stay the course. Be a leader, and you don't let nobody tell you otherwise. There you go.
Thank you, guys. That's been an awesome conversation on how to raise a kind kid. And so if you're a barrier breaker like us, we're always looking to improve and have conversations about it because we know it's a continuous process that we have to be consistent at as well. So we're modeling that. So we hope you continue the road to equity.